Hi guys, we are here doing our Grazing Board virtual class. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Kayla.
And I'm Garrett.
And we are with Fox and Honey, which is part of Baked Beer and Bread Company and Cookies and Dreams. And we're just going to talk to you about building your own grazing and charcuterie board and the best practices to do that, how we choose the items that go on the boards, and how we build the boards themselves. We do a lot of these for special events, for weddings, showers, holiday parties, birthdays. We do them off-site and on-site, so we've been doing this for quite some time, and we just love how they turn out. You can get so creative with them and even match a theme or a time of year, seasons, anything really. So we're really excited to talk to you a little bit more in depth about our process behind building a grazing board. So here in front of us, we have a selection of meats and cheeses, olives, jams, crackers, and some fresh fruits and vegetables, all of which we use in our grazing boards. And sometimes we use more than that as well. So the process that we go through to pick our cheeses, first of all, is we like to have a good amount of hard, semi-hard, and soft cheeses, and some spreadable cheeses as well. We take into account if there's any allergies or the season. Here in front of us, we do have a pumpkin spice cheddar, which is definitely unique and seasonal as well. So there may be some other types of varieties that we would recommend in other seasons. We also have some brie, some really sharp cheddar, and some aged cheddar. We have Genoa salami with some garlic, peppered salami, Maytag blue cheese, honeycomb, as well as a couple different types of olives and jam and crackers. So
All right, so Steph talked a little bit about the cheeses, and I really enjoy the cured meats and other things we bring in. So here we have a spicy sopressata. You can slice it really thick in little medallions. That's always a really good thing. You can build it on some crostinis or with some of those spreadable cheeses and stuff like that. So that's why I really like these salamis, and we use a peppered salami as well as a garlic one on our boards. So these just bring different flavors and can combine and pair well with many of the cheeses and spreads that we have. We also sell a lot of things that we include on our boards at Bakes. One of those things being spicy chipotle olives. They bring a really nice smokiness to the table and complement and fight some of the really bold flavors that the cured meats bring. So coming very soon to Baked, we will have a whole charcuterie section. So you can take little bits off of the shelf to customize your own charcuterie experience. That includes our cute little jams. We love our little jams because they're adorable. Our spreadable camembert cheese. We'll have some of our cured meats and stuff for sale. Cute little utensils, cute little dogs pushing bones all around the floor. You cannot buy those at Baked, but yeah, she's adorable. But yeah, we sell a lot of jams and pre-packaged olives and stuff. So come in, find what flavors you want on our shelf, and if you don't see those flavors, ask about them, and we will make sure we take care of you, and we can add a lot of those things to our retail space, so to suit your needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think another thing too is, it doesn't have to be thick meats like this. If you like prosciutto, thinner meats, it really can be whatever you want it to be. The other nice thing that we have too is some berries. Those are nice fillers. Vegetables are also great fillers. As you can see in ours, a little goes a very long way. We maybe have a total of 12 tomatoes, just a couple blackberries sprinkled, just to create a little bit more color, a little bit more balance, and add a little bit of sweetness to all the cheeses and meats that you're eating. And again, you can choose whatever you want to choose. We have, a couple nuts here. We have some honeycomb. The honeycomb is also actually sold at Baked too. It's really good on blue cheese if you've never tried it. I know it sounds weird. It's delicious. And you can just use little things like that. Even if you only have a small amount, use it as a nice filler. Our philosophy is the more the better, right? We're all about carbs, we're all about cheese, we're all about wine, and we're all about charcuteries and snacking. And you can even go to the store too. If you're doing a much bigger charcuterie, you can find, things at Sam's Club even that are like $1, some artichokes to fill in that people can eat, but they don't necessarily have to. When you cut into the pomegranate, which we'll do soon, you can really open that up and see all of those beautiful flavors, and it just adds really good flavor and really good color to your charcuterie board as well. What we see is what we eat first, right? We see what we eat, so.
Yeah, absolutely. We eat with our eyes first,
Yes.
and so everything that we put on the charcuterie and the grazing boards are delicious. Like, who doesn't love really good cheeses? And cured meats, crackers, and crostinis. But it's also really beautiful with all the different colors and the varieties. You can see the craft of the cheesemakers and the chefs that have prepared the cured meats. You can see the care that they brought to those products, as well as have a lot of variety in what you or your guests are enjoying. Maybe you like a cracker with a sharp cheddar and some orange marmalade. Yeah, you do eat with your eyes first and foremost. I think everybody knows that, but in charcuterie and in grazing boards, it is really extraordinarily true. You can see with some of these beautiful, delicious cheeses and the cured meats, how much the cheesemakers or the chefs, how much care they put into producing those products. And some of the cheeses that we use are local to Iowa or to the Midwest, with Wisconsin cheeses or Maytag blue cheese, which is an Iowa product. So it's great to be able to support those local producers as well. And another great thing about the charcuterie and the grazing boards is there's so much variety to what you can enjoy. So maybe you like a cracker with a sharp cheddar and orange marmalade, but Kayla might like a cracker with some of the peppered salami and brie cheese, which sounds... Yes, goat cheese and blackberry are a lovely combination. You'll also notice that we have some other types of filler on the table, which is these eucalyptus leaves. We also have some beautiful flowers over here, and those are also really great to fill in the board and add some extra extraness.
and like natural colors, because like all these things that we have, like they occur naturally through whatever processes they go through. The fruits and vegetables, obviously they just grow that way, but the cured meats, like they go through a very specific process, and the cheeses as well, to give them like the colors and textures that they have. And that's, I think, my favorite part about charcuterie, is that you get to play with all these different textures. Like some look a little rough, some look smooth. Like some textures might deceive you, like your taste buds a little bit, because of the way you're looking at it. And it's like, okay, maybe that's a softer cheese, but you'll get a little more bite than you expect. And that's like sometimes a pleasant surprise, right?
Absolutely.
And we talked about sourcing a lot of things, like from the state and the region. And it's not just because we want to support like those things. It is because like we want to source top quality ingredients, and these are some of the absolute best out there. Can't argue that Maytag blue cheese out of Newton, Iowa is like the best that money can buy. And on top of some a crostini with some honeycomb, perfect.
Now I know what Garrett's
unctuous
favorite is.
and sweet and crunchy, like with that texture from the crostini. It's lovely. Maybe even add like a couple little pomegranate pearls. They like burst open a little bit in your mouth. That acidity from the juice kind of plays really nicely with all of that. So. And
if you pair that with a really nice Cabernet, like the Tribute Cabernet that we have, it is perfect. I promise. It's so wonderful. And if you take one of our wine and cheese classes, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But without further ado, we will get into building your own board. So everybody get out your board and the supplies that you have, and we will get started on it.
All right, guys, so we just wanted to give you a little bit of a close-up of some of the ingredients that we'll be using with our charcuterie board tonight. We've got a nice soft cheese, a nice hard cheese, a few crackers, some dried fruit, some berries, nuts, and then a different combination of meats. You can also see on either side, we have some more crackers, some olives, some jam, and a little bowl to put in whatever we please, maybe a spreadable cheese of some sort. So we are gonna get started.
All right, so I think our favorite part about doing these grazing boards and tables is that we get to break age-old rules our parents bestowed upon us, and we get to play with our food. Yeah, so you're literally just gonna turn all these ingredients that we have here into your own little masterpiece. There is no wrong answer. Play with textures, play with colors. If you think you have a combination of flavors you want to go together, stack it up, make it look really cool, and it's just ready to eat, you know, sometimes. So
Absolutely. I think with Valentine's Day coming up, it's really something to think about when you choose your items. So if you wanted to make a Valentine's Day themed board, I personally would probably use this spicy sopressata because of this nice, beautiful, deep red color, as well as raspberries, blackberries, brie, maybe some goat cheese, or again, some of these really nice and creamy or white cheeses that offer a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know, like
Diversity?
Diversity
punch,
and-
sharpness.
With all of those vibrant, beautiful colors. Contrast. That was the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Thank
Got
you.
it.
Yeah. And even I don't know if you've seen the blueberry goat cheese. You can find it sometimes at Hy-Vee and sometimes at Aldi's. And I know you can certainly make your own, but when you slice that, it has this beautiful, deep purple, blue color within the goat cheese. So when
It's
you
like
slice
marbled.
that, it's almost marbled.
Cool.
So that's another thing to be looking for if you're working around a theme. But if not, those types of colors are a really great thing to work with as well.
The cranberry cinnamon's really good too.
Yes,
Goat cheese. Yeah.
agreed.
Okay, so I know when Steph and I first started doing this, because you know she's the creative genius behind it all, and she just kind of trained me, and we always started with almost like our pillars. It's always a good place to start when building a charcuterie board. So when you have, you know, little dishes like this and little jams and bottles and your bigger cheeses, you know, like brie or big blocks of cheese, we typically set those out first and then kind of work around those and build off of that to help with that contrast. So you don't have two white cheeses right by each other, and it adds just a nice array of color and things like that to your board.
Yeah, they act as like an anchor to your board. So if you have something like this, you know, maybe not directly in the middle, maybe not super in a corner, because then it gets lost or it's too much of a focal point. I personally like to put it somewhere off center a little bit. Same thing with our, this is a super cute little baby jam that you can take the lid off and again set over here or in a comparable area. You can put this in another dish as well, like a hard dish, but for now we're gonna leave it in these adorable little glass bottles. So that's a really nice way to work around, and then you can kind of spiral out some of your cheeses or some of your meats, and it creates like a wall and something to anchor it down on your board. So otherwise it can just seem like there's no rhyme or reason to what you're doing. You have to get down. That was Pickles.
He's a diva.
It's very nice.
Right.
We are filming this at my house. We don't have animals in our workplace, so
Yes.
don't worry. We are just filming this at our house for some good natural light.
Yes.
So, but why don't we get started? So I put my tin right here, and I'm going to start building out from that. Something that you may see on a lot of our grazing boards, or something that you see on Instagram or other grazing boards. When you have this really nice, really thin salami and cured meats, you can fold them really nice and put them in a row. So you fold it in half and then fold it in half again. And so then you have this cute little triangle And you keep doing that again and again with some of those meats, and can create either a line or maybe a circle or a half circle around here. Maybe it goes straight down your board or on two sides, even with two different types of meats. It just adds another layer of visual textures with the ribbons here on your meat. So it's a really nice way to display it. And having those anchors there really helps to keep it in place as well, because sometimes when you set it down, it wants to fall apart. But if you have an anchor to hold it there, it's just much easier.
Some for you too, sir.
Thank you. I'm gonna put some raspberries on my booty.
We've even done these in like the shape of like a number or a letter.
Mm-hmm.
If
Even a
you're-
star.
Or the charcuterie.
Yes, or the charcuterie.
Oh,
made
yeah,
a
that was
Christmas
so
tree,
fun.
which was really fun and challenging.
Yeah.
Super challenging.
Took a long time.
Yes,
But,
that's okay.
yeah.
I really like brie with these fresh berries. So when these fresh bright berry colors give it some contrast too. So that's what I'm making my little brie half circle thing.
Something to note when you're making your charcuterie board, if you're making it in advance for a celebration that you have maybe tomorrow or later this evening, wait to put any crackers or crostinis on the board before you put it back in the refrigerator, because they will get soggy and get stale in the refrigerator, and especially next to all of these really moist cheeses and meats and stuff. So if you're going to be enjoying it right away, then feel free to put them on the board. Otherwise, we recommend waiting to put them on or keeping them on the side, arranged on another nice platter.
Mm-hmm. And there are some people too that like pickles and olives, and there are other people that don't. So depending on the guests that are coming over or yourself and what you like, keep in mind too that those are both juicy as well. And so sometimes they can leak onto your meats. So if you don't want a bunch of olive flavored meats or pickled flavored meats because of all the juices, that's why these little dishes are really nice, because it still looks like it's a part of the board and it adds that color, but you're not really mixing and mashing all these different flavors unless you want to, right? Because the cheese and the berries and everything are separate and you get to put them together, but you don't want all your flavors soaking together and contaminating each other.
And then with flower design or even interior design, you'll notice that odd numbers are king, I guess, or queen.
Yeah, queens are best.
Yeah, queen.
Sorry.
They're queens. And so we tend to go with odd numbers when we're arranging. Like I just grabbed 3 wedges of brie because I want to make sure we have an odd number there to fan out on my board. And it's okay if you see something where you place it and then you're like, you know what, not happy with it there, I want to move it. Feel free to move things around as you see fit.
Yeah, this is coming together nicely, playing with lots of colors. I like that.
Beautiful.
You like it? So far, so good. And I love blue cheese, so that's definitely going on my board.
There you go.
I think we can put.
Do you want a little honey?
Yes, I would love some honeycomb. And I'm going to do 3 is a magic number, right? I just said that right. So I will grab 3 of these. I like to make little blue cheese balls and just like take my thumb and smush just a little bit, and it makes the perfect little setting for this raw honeycomb. So really easy to put right on top of your crostini, and the little pomegranate pearls rest right on that raw honey nicely, and you have so much flavor in one bite, you won't even believe it. I'm gonna turn everyone onto blue cheese that doesn't like it. I'm determined. Yeah, Maytag blue cheese especially, like it is king. So I think I'm actually gonna do the same thing that Steph did with the olives. These little ramekins are perfect for housing like those juices as you know, some of these things are pickled and those pickling juices sometimes have to stay attached to those. So that's a way to include those flavors and colors and kind of keep them out of everything else a bit. So.
And some people like it. I mean, some people want that juice from pickles or olives with everything else, and they like that soak. But we're just, saying if you don't, or you have guests that don't like certain things, it's definitely a personal preference with that kind of stuff. But these little dishes really help to separate that too.
We also recommend not putting two cheeses of the same color right next to one another. We want them to be slightly different colors. So you can see on my board right now, I have the pumpkin spice cheddar, which I put that on there because I really love that color of the veining in there. And then we have the brie cheese, which has that really creamy white color and then the white rind. And then a really sharp cheddar, which is still a slightly different color than the brie cheese, but we want to make sure that we have a nice assortment of different colors in the cheeses so that it is a little bit more visually appealing.
And another thing that you can do is kind of create like these little separator like boundaries for things to separate colors. Even if they're somewhat similar, you can use a little pop of color like on top of the brie cheese where I put the fresh fruit, or even the blue cheese, which is sort of similar in color, but thanks to the happy accident that is blue cheese, the blue mold inside provides a little bit of that contrast, but separates my little pinwheel brie here from this cool little, I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but it looks really cool, and I set some apricots and stuff inside, and visually it looks really nice. So.
And I'm putting some prosciutto on my board right now. This prosciutto is separated by these little pieces of plastic because prosciutto is so thin and so fragile, it just makes handling it a lot easier. So what I like to do is pull it away from that plastic and hold it over my tray or my work area and just fold it down like an accordion. Really nice and gently. And then you can pick it up and set it where you would like it on your board. So it's like these little prosciutto ribbons. And it kind of plays into the same ribbons and ruffles that we have in our salami, but and it fills the board and looks really nice once you display it on there.
You also see that we're using this cheese knife for everything, and it's really just meant for cheese, but we're not gonna dirty more than we already have. But this knife is super cute, obviously, perfect for cutting cheese for a charcuterie board, and it says cheese on there, and these are actually sold at Baked as well. And sometimes we include them in our gift boxes that Fox and Honey sells as well.
And if you want anything specifically included in gift boxes or anything, just holler
We can
at
do
us.
that
That's
too.
the lovely thing about being small and local is we can accommodate to a lot of requests. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do private classes like this for groups, for companies, or for maybe a bachelorette party or something like that. We can do them virtually or in person. So if anybody's looking for something fun to do that's a little bit different, just let us know and we're happy to chat with you more about that. I know the past 12 months or so it's just been really crazy and there's not a lot to do, so we wanted to offer some options to help people get outside their comfort zone and have some fun as well.
And still feel safe and
and have something to look forward to.
Yes, that's super important.
Yeah.
You can see too, we are obsessed with these cocoa almonds that Steph is grabbing right now.
Delicious.
They are so good. And that's the other thing too, is charcuterie doesn't have to start and end with meat and cheeses and fruits. We have made hot cocoa charcuterie boards. We've made brunch boards. I mean, everything is endless. All of the ideas are endless for these kinds of things. So adding a little bit of sweetness like that, a little bit of cocoa. We have sea salt caramels that we also sell at Bakes out front that are just to die for, and that could be a nice little sweet treat after you're done with your meat and cheeses, but still be a part of your board too.
And believe it or not, these cocoa almonds go lovely with some of these sharper white aged
Yes,
cheddars.
absolutely.
yes, for
That
sure.
sweetness with that like
Mhm.
bite that you get from those cheddars, delicious.
Yeah, I know we kind of already mentioned this about the versatility of these boards, but if you're not quite sure about some flavors, blue cheese is a great example, because I know we have some people that are just like, no,
Serious
I
aversion
don't
to
do
it. Yeah.
blue cheese. Some blue cheese can certainly be quite pungent.
Mhm.
This Maytag blue cheese is a wonderful cheese, but that's a great example of that. So this is a really great way for you to try some of those flavors that you may not be in love with yet, without being married to a whole meal or something.
Mm-hmm. You're trying to expand your palates, guys, right?
Yeah. Well, and what's one of the biggest arguments, I'm sure, with all couples and friends is, where are we going to eat and what are we going to eat? And why a charcuterie board is perfect, because you get a little bit of everything.
And you can decide what you want or don't want.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You know? Unlike,
without being wasteful or,
yeah.
using too much. So as you can see, we're gonna do close-ups of these two boards when we're done, but they're using the same ingredients, the same things that we have on these plates, but they look so different. And honestly, that's one of my favorite parts of when we do caterings and things like this, is because we literally just bring the ingredients and we have no idea what the space looks like. We just know how many people we're supposed to feed with this grazing board, and we get the ingredients to match that. And then we bring some of our anchors, as Steph mentioned, some cake stands, boards like this, to kind of elevate things and not only create texture, but also create different heights and different points of view of each of the foods. And they always end up different. There is no one that is the same. And it's my favorite part to just see it all kind of come together. You just see this blank slate with all of these anchors, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds. And before you know it, all these ingredients are making this beautiful display. And a lot of people, when we are setting these up, are like, how are you guys doing this? And then they say it looks so beautiful, they don't even want to eat it, And they're like, I don't even want to touch it. I just want to look at it, but it looks so good.
Yeah, we're so flattered by that, but
Yeah,
please eat
but
your
please
chocolate
eat it, yeah.
table.
So
it tastes as good
It
as it looks.
always takes that one person to just be like, I'm going for it, and they just
I'm
dig right
doing
in.
it.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm ruining it. I don't care. I'm hungry.
Yes.
I feel pretty comfortable
Yeah,
with
I like
where my
it.
charcuterie board is at right now. Oh,
Oh,
that's a
some of your
okay.
caramels. Yeah, so
Life
these are the
hack.
caramels that we were talking about. Sea salt caramels. They are so good. I personally love caramel. So you can see she's adding a little bit of sweetness, and then the flowers. Nice little flower
Yeah.
flowers.
We like to use some flowers to add some color and some brightness to the boards. You can use, most flowers are perfectly okay to be in contact with food. Some of the ones that aren't are hydrangeas. Hydrangeas are poisonous. Poinsettias, of course, and a lot of the lily varieties. So those are ones that we certainly don't recommend putting on a board, but roses or carnations, obviously fresh herbs such as rosemary are a great addition to the boards. So don't be afraid to add some of those as well, just for like a nice little pop of color. And you can cut them off if you like and just use a little bud.
I totally am ripping some buds off of your flower.
That's okay.
It's a beautiful ring.
That's
I'm
okay.
gonna use some.
That's what it's there for. Is there anything else I want to put on the board?
And the objective too, guys, is to make it look full, right? I mean, we want it to look like we can't fit another darn thing on this plate. You don't want any spaces. You don't want to be able to see the bottom of the plate. You just want it to look so beautiful and so full that you're like, oh my gosh, when I'm done with this board, I'm going to be stuffed and satisfied.
And these are a 10 by 10 plate right here. These are palm leaf plates. They're recyclable and biodegradable, which is nice.
And bakeable.
And bakeable.
Yeah.
And you can put them in the oven.
Yeah.
But they're a really nice quality. They're super sturdy. You almost feel like they shouldn't be disposable, but they are. And they're just that really nice natural color, which works really, really well with grazing and charcuterie boards. We use these a lot in our caterings and again with grazing boards and stuff like that. So we have a selection, or will have a selection of boards and cutting boards that you can use for grazing boards in our retail area as well. But you can certainly find them online or at various stores around town.
Absolutely. Right.
Yes.
Nice and
Close up
beautiful.
of that. You can see the full thing from the top. And the aftermath of all of our ingredients.
Right.
And this is Garrett's board. And you can see we used all of the same ingredients, but they're both completely different boards. And I really like what he did with his anchor of the olives and the salami ruffles. That's a really good idea to use those edges for more ingredients. So yeah, these are really beautiful. And before we go, we will show you how a little bit of flowers and greenery and some candles can make just these two simple boards look like $1 million.
All right, guys, so we've just added some greenery. Like we said at the beginning of the video, adding eucalyptus leaves or any kind of greenery really adds to it. You can see now that these two 10 by 10 charcuterie boards on disposable plates now look like this brilliant, beautiful centerpiece. We have even added a couple of candles, which I love the different elevated candles that we have, some tall and thin and some shorter. It really adds just more depth to it. And like we said, is gonna be the showstopper of, your party. So thank you so much for joining us. We love Fox and Honey. We love you guys. And we hope that you enjoy your charcuterie boards.